about for the Gators that they're going to dearly miss next year is their guard, Jimmy Watson. He's the 290-pound senior, number 73. He's been a bit of an anchor for this young team this year. They have a lot of talent coming back on that offensive line, but they're going to be missing him. Now they come up with a slot to the right, and Rhett to the 49, and we get an opportunity to check in on what's going on this busy New Year's Day. John Saunders, take it away. All right, John, thank you. And 1st and 10 and a timeout called here by Terry Dean. And while we've got an opportunity, why don't we take a break and check in on some other shows that are coming your way here on ABC. Steve Spurrier and the Florida Gators closing in on a victory here at the USF&G Insurance Sugar Bowl. Lead it big, 35-7. They gave up the first 7 points of the game and then came back and scored 35 unanswered points against Donnie Nealon's Mountaineers.
You know, and I think the offense, if it continues like it is here for Florida, will get a lot of credit. But I really think the unit that deserves a lot of credit is that defensive football team. They have really improved through the season. They started out getting a lot of criticism, and Coach Zook and a lot of the players did. But I'll tell you, they have played awfully well and tackled very sharp.
I know that one of the glamour guys and the number guys will get the MVP, but I'd vote for number 10.
Me too.
I don't think the game's been the same. 1st and 10. And Rhett, stepping lively, picks a hole beautifully, doesn't he?
It's so tough to do that, to start one way, catch the ball, come back, and then make people miss because the defense has gained penetration. He'll catch the ball, start to his right, he'll come back to the left, penetration, he'll widen his base, cut right upfield, find the daylight. This young man can play. You can't coach those kind of things.
His name is right up there with the Herschel Walkers and the Bo Jacksons when it comes to career numbers in the SEC. I mean, he's just had a wonderful career at Florida. We don't know if he'll have a pro career quite like Emmitt Smith, but then how many guys will have, you know what I mean? Now it's Dean back, has one-on-one, goes deep against Beasley, and incomplete. It was Houston.
But he beat Emmitt Smith's record at Florida.
Yes, he did. Rhett rushing for better than 4,160 yards. Emmitt, of course, he had 3 years, remember, then he went into the pros, 3,928. So he did have one extra year, if we want to put one little asterisk on that. But Eric Rhett is 3rd in the history of the SEC behind Herschel and Bo. How's that? And he's
pretty good company.
And he can catch, too. He's an excellent receiver.
Right now, there's nothing he can't do maybe for the NFL team, but maybe make the 80-yard run, the 60-yard burst once he clears that secondary.
And when you're named Rhett and you're playing in the South, folks, you know you're good. There's a completion to Frazier. 1st down for the Florida Gators and out of bounds. When you think about it, hey, Eric Rhett, huh?
That's it. But, you know, here's Darrell Frazier, number 25, but just caught that football. He's a senior out of Winter Haven, Florida. He's hit 9 balls coming in, averaging 25 yards a catch. They throw it to him. He reaches out there. He looks like he's caught 60 balls on the air. They can all catch the football.
First and 10. Florida on the move again. It's been all Gators since about midway through the 2nd quarter. Here's Rhett to the 28-yard line.
You know, Eric Brett last year in the Gator Bowl ran for 182 yards, and that was his second best since Larry Smith, a former great Gator, ran for 87 against Georgia Tech in the bowl game. I don't know how many he's got right now, but it's obvious they're going to give him the football and let him run. He's up to 100 yards right now, and that coach we see right there is 23-1 when a running back runs for 100 yards. There it is, 21-1. Missed it by 2. I was giving you a little more credit there, Coach Spurrier. You're ahead. Don't get upset. Don't think he takes this game serious, huh?
I've been around you long enough to know how coaches take these games.
You know, there's another game he takes serious, and that's golf. And that might be one reason he'll never coach in the NFL. He wants to keep playing.
I'll tell you why he's upset right here. This is the second half of the game, and even though he's up 35-7, he does not like to be completely out of timeouts before the fourth quarter even starts. That was the third timeout called by Dean, and Steve, I think, would have just as soon settled for a 5-yard penalty in that situation and at least kept one in his hip pocket just in case there's a miracle comeback.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Jack Arute, what about Steve's golf game?
Well, it's a great little story that Don Nealon told us. You know, he said playing the 8th bowl game of New Year's Day so late in the day really upsets the way you get ready for a game. And he said, you know, what I would have liked to have done is I'd like to have teed this thing up at about 1 o'clock. And then I would like to have gone home and have all this crowd come in and look at the Diamond Vision screens and have it say, hey, we decided to start without you. Sorry we did. Watch the replay. We left early. One, so Steve Spurrier can get an early tee time tomorrow in Florida, and so I can go back to the mountains.
2nd and 6, and yeah, he would have liked to have seen that a lot of people didn't see this one. Now Dean steps off to the right, fires. Looked like it was just short of the first down, didn't it, at the 25-yard line. He hit Harrison Houston, the senior wide receiver. There's one of the young men they'll be replacing in Gainesville next year.
He's a school record in all-purpose yardage. Every one of these receivers holds some kind of a record. Every time he touched the ball, it was 19.3 yards. So obviously, as an offensive coach such as Spurrier, you try to find ways to put the ball in his hands.
Well, Steve, you know, played here, too, in a Sugar Bowl game. He was on a great comeback that came up a couple of points short against Missouri. He was the first losing player to be the MVP. Now he comes back. He's lost once as a coach. And with that first down, moving, and Dick, it appears like he's going to come away and be 1-1 as a coach. He's 15 minutes away, and time is running out on unbeaten West Virginia. Oh yeah, the winners say, let's boogie. And on the other side, Deal. Can't wait to get another hand when you're trailing like this. 35-7. 1st and 10, and Dean straight back with the drop. Jack Jackson short and intercepted. Picked off by Beasley. Beasley at the 20. And out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Beasley with a little bit of revenge against Dean, who's been coming his way all night.
Well, Dunlap, defensive coordinator, said he was his best coverage guy. He demonstrated there, coming up with his 4th pass interception in his career out of Valley Forge Military Academy in Pennsylvania. They tried to get the isolation on the corner pattern. He played it perfectly. Should not have thrown that ball like that. Then he goes ahead. Now he's going to be a running back. Picks up some blockers. Again, defensive teams are coached to form walls and become offensive players once they intercept the ball, and they did a pretty good job of it.
The Gators start the final 15 with an interception. West Virginia will try to make them pay here. Kelchner on the roll to the right. Walker blocks beautifully, and he almost gave it right back. Hanks almost picked that off at the 40-yard line.
Remember, at halftime, we had pretty even numbers. There weren't that much, really not many yards separating. You can see right now, total yards, 370 to 225. The 2 turnovers for West Virginia have really killed them, especially the one on the kickoff return. Rushing yards, University of Florida up to 122 right now. Look at the passing yards, 248. Dean's got a ways to go, though, if he's going to get up to his best game of over 400.
Now Walker is out and Rodney Woodard in. Kelchner. And a diving reception. at the 38-yard line. Nice catch by Rasan Vanterpool.
Rasan is a gifted young freshman football player out of New York. They think he has real potential to be a breakaway threat type guy in the returns and a long gainer type guy with the receivers. Catch the short one and run and make it a long one.
Walker slips back in with the play, and West Virginia taking a little bit too much time to get these plays in right now. When you're down 35-7, come up to the line, only 9 seconds left on that clock. And here is Walker around the right side, moves that pile out to the 44-yard line. It's a first down for the Mountaineers, and the clock will stop right now.
Walker has had a great year, set a school record single season with 1,191 yards. Actually was slated to be a defensive football player. They were going to move him to the secondary last year. At the end of the season, a back got hurt. He ran for 100 yards in the last game of the season. Came in this year. John Jones was going to be the starter. He got hurt. They put him in, and he's never going to play defense.
For sure. Now Kelchner and the Mountaineers in need of a big play. Two almost. And he telegraphed that one all the way. Ben Hanks was coming. If he'd have had another yard, it might have been a quick six for the Gators. I want to tell you.
You know, I mentioned this to you before about Rich Braham, the big offensive left tackle from West Virginia, has a great initial pop. That time he set back in pass protection and he popped the defender. Here he is right here on your screen. He sets back and he'll pop Gaines, number 94. Watch him bounce back. He has a real good pop, and that's very important if you're going to be a good pass protector.
Now, nice play. Hand to Woodard. Woodard, first down. Woodard blast to the 42-yard line. Dick, when you went back and looked at the game tape of Miami, you were very impressed with the Mountaineer fullback.
Well, he was the guy that kept controlling the ball, making the tough 4- and 5-yard gains in the 3rd and 3 and the 3rd and 4 situations, and then he would run over people. And actually, on that same type of play, a number of times against Miami and their even defense, he broke up inside. University of Virginia offense, 244 yards rushing a game, 9th in the country. West Virginia, though.
Mountaineers searching for that strike. Kelchner gets a lot of time, can't find an open receiver, and dumps it out of bounds and incomplete.
Absolutely no place to go. See, there was only 3 people out there. They had 7 people covering, rushing 4 people, no one to throw to. That's Jim LeBlanc walking out of there. He had a shoulder separation problem last year, had 10 starts this year, so he's been able to play the whole season. There's big Jim LeBlanc.
2nd and 10 for Kelchner and the Mounties. Blitz. Off the blitz. Here comes Groh. Kelchner releases, complete. Vanterpool, the freshman, on the receiving end, and Groh was coming again.
Normally in that kind of blitz, man-to-man all the way, you would like to go to the post pattern for the big one. He didn't have time to set up properly and go for the big one, so he takes the flat pattern. Mr. Groh coming off the corner. He's what they call the gator back. The other fella, Ben Hanks, is called the bandit back. Both of them are tough backs. Average yards by down.
One of the messages up here on the board in the Superdome says, "Go Jacksonville Jaguars." It's the handoff now. And Walker stood up far short of that first down. Ben Hanks.
Excellent tackle. When you can knock a running back like Walker back by yourself initially with good tackling technique, you're a good tackler.
There it is, the sign I spoke about. In 2 years, the Gator Bowl. They'll start renovation on Monday. They'll have a brand new field. It means the Georgia-Florida game will go to Gainesville this year. It was already slated for Athens in '95. Then they'll go back to the brand new Gator Bowl. Who knows, maybe it'll be called Jaguar Stadium when they get done over there. 4th down. What a great story that is for that city. Down the middle and incomplete, overthrown, and Wright almost had his 2nd pick of the game. He had a wonderful 52-yard return for an interception in the first half.
So they went to a double zone. They rushed 4. They went 5 underneath and had 2 deep. He tried to get the ball in between the 2 safeties, couldn't do it. Slot man, top of your screen, play action, trying to freeze people underneath. They want to slip it down in that seam. That's the place to go if you can get it there, but they couldn't get it there. What he got was lunch when Ellis Johnson, number 61, let him have it. Coach Zook, Monty Groth, ought to give that guy a real big hug, Coach.
So Dwayne Mobley checks in as running back for the Gators. His father a few years ago hit a nice Florida lottery down there for a few $1 million. Probably came to the game tonight in a chauffeured limo. That's what you do, you know, when you hit that lotto down
That's
there.
what you're supposed to do. Over the last 4 years, 44 players named to the SEC Academic Honor Roll within this program. Not only good football players, but very good students, or a number of very good students. Doing a good job of recruiting the right people, then doing a real good job of coaching him once he gets there. You know, this guy, to me, in college coaching, has a little of Bill Walsh in him. No matter who plays quarterback for him, they do a good job. You know, and I've said that earlier in the broadcast. And he has a flair for doing the right things in the passing game, and they change every week.
Yeah, you said right away it was the most sophisticated passing game that you've looked at in college football. This is Terrence Foy. He's the freshman, and Eric Rett, after a 100-yard, 3-touchdown night, get some time off, and we'll get a chance to look at Foy, and we check in with Jack Arute. Jack?
Well, I'm really happy, Brent, because I've met up with the entire Dean family, Terry's mom and dad, but more importantly, Robin Rabb, who, believe it or not, I understand, Robin, that Terry Dean one time at Florida Field early in the season was sacked at the 50-yard line by none other than you. Tell me the story.
Well, Terry and I had been talking a little bit about getting married and stuff, but then he started tricking me and saying he didn't know if it was going to happen. So one night we went out to dinner, and then he decided to drive out to Florida Field, and I thought, well, what's he going to do? Whip out, you know, and show me his bench press or something. So anyway, we were walking out on the field, and it was a pretty night, and the stars were out, and he just dropped on his knee and asked me to marry him.
That might be the only time that Terry Dean ever gets sacked for a long-term gain.
Got that right.
That was the most unique sideline report we've had this year.
Oh, my. Second down. And here's Foy. Now, how about Terry Dean's parents? Let's make sure that they're sending him back to Gainesville next year, Jack.
Brent, that's exactly what I was going to ask his dad, Frank Dean. Frank, there were a lot of reports before this game that maybe there was the possibility that Terry would forego his senior year.
No, he never really thought about that very much. He'll be back next year.
How tough is it on a parent when you've got a quarterback situation the way it was between Wuerffel and Terry, back and forth? What kind of advice did you give your son?
The normal things. Hang on. Things will get better. Keep trying. And don't ever, ever give up.
I've got to ask you, having a star quarterback as a son, do you get a lot of ribbing at the hair salon?
I tell you what, I can still spank him when I need to.
When you've got a situation, though, and you get to watch your son play ball, do you ever think about the NFL? Do you ever think about maybe him making it and playing on Sundays?
Of course, when you have a boy in ball on the national level with colleges, it's a natural thought, but a lot of things have to happen. If it's God's will, he'll be there.
Well, Happy New Year to all of you.
Thank you.
Well, Dean and the Gators with a comfortable 35-7 lead here, and a first down across midfield against the Mountaineers, and that time he slipped trying to get it into Mobley's hands, putting the ball down on the carpet.
I think the offensive center stepped on his foot. When he went to reverse pivot, it was stepped on, and he couldn't reverse pivot and hand it off. That's embarrassing. And it does happen. Every once in a while you see that happen.
But the Gators have not been embarrassed very often here tonight.
No, they haven't. They've done most things correct. You know, little Terrence Foy, that freshman running back, he's a true freshman out of Orlando, Winter Park High School. He averaged 11.6 yards a carry. I don't know if they're going to miss Big Eric that much. 11.6 yards an average carry last year in high school.
Well, the SEC will test him. Here he is running the toss play. He slipped through, looked good on that run, made his way to the 45-yard line, and
And Wes Richardson, number 41, is normally a good tackler. So this young man has some strength as well. He just kept those legs going. He's short and squatty and 180 pounds, but he has power as well. He's shaking his head. You know, that guy wanted a piece of my head there. Here he is, Winter Park High School.
How about that dental work?
Yeah.
It's all right, huh? Yeah, that's where you carry your goals, you know, a lot of times. They sent him in motion, and they fired at Jack Jackson. Jack will be back next year. He'll be an All-American candidate. Yeah, folks, get ready. I wouldn't be surprised if the Gators are not there in the top 3 in the preseason next year. This team is coming back loaded. This is an impressive bowl victory here tonight in New Orleans. He did a great job this year. A lot of folks didn't think he'd get past Tennessee in that division. They did. They beat Alabama in Birmingham. Granted, Alabama had a little quarterback problem, but the Gators deserved to win that game. There was no question about it. Shane Edge's big play, and then Dean hit the long pass right away to Jackson. Here's Foy. And Foy to the 27-yard line. And, of course, there will be another host of good young recruits down there in the state of Florida. It's unbelievable to me how much football talent there is now in the state of Florida. When you just think about it, I used to think that California and Texas and Ohio and Pennsylvania, but I don't think any of them, Dick, in their heyday turned out as many great skill players as the state of Florida does.
A lot of speed down there, Brent. You know, and here we're watching University of Florida tear West Virginia apart, and they fight for respect down there with Florida State down there and the University of Miami, and they're rated a 3rd rank, you know, and they're fighting for respect.
That's Mobley, short of the first down. Speaking of Tuesday night on ABC, your comedy favorites ring in the new year with new episodes. Roseanne and Coach, Tuesday, starting at 9, 8 Central Time on ABC. Let's see. Roseanne's hubby, big Iowa Hawkeye fan, had to be disappointed in their bowl performance against California the other night down the Alamo Bowl. Now the Hawkeyes will be back under Hayden Fry. Big Ten enjoyed a good season, capped it off today with an upset of Tennessee in the Citrus Bowl and a big win by Wisconsin. Can't say enough about Barry Alvarez and the Badgers and what they accomplished with that program. Ohio State earlier had beaten BYU, but not by much. Incomplete. Brigham Young was threatening going in. You know, you talked about all that talent in Florida in the 3